Well, the votes have been cast and election 2016 is underway in the bi-state area. It was close on Tuesday and the path to the presidency is unclear. And of course, voters have many more decisions than just commander-in-chief. Local elections to decide, property taxes and bond issues are still on the horizon, as is the Missouri statewide primary. It's the kickoff to election 2016, so stay tuned.
Stay Tuned brings together local experts, journalists, civic leaders, and regular people to have tough conversations for a stronger St. Louis. Add your voice to our conversation, and you're at the table as we stay on top of current events and go deeper, bringing more light and less heat to the issues that matter. From the 9 network of public media in Grand Center, this is Stay Tuned. This week, both Illinois and Missouri got lots of attention from candidates from both parties as they crisscrossed the region, hoping to sway undecided voters before the primaries on Tuesday, and voters turned out in record numbers. Polarization seems on the ascent, too, between and in both political parties, as evidenced on social media. Anthony Daniels tweeted, "Am I the only one feeling alarmed after Donald Trump's success on Super Tuesday?" And Kim Marcoux wondered, why is it that Hillary supporters hate being reminded of what she sees as her lies and inconsistencies? In a Twitter conversation with Brittany Packnett, she commented that the toxicity of the political environment is turning people away from the democratic process. So what lies ahead in this election season? And what's at stake?
Okay, we've got a lot to talk about and only 30 minutes to do it. So let's make some introductions and we'll jump right in. Jason Rosenbaum, reporter with St. Louis Public Radio, and Joe Mannies with St. Louis Public Radio as well. Sandy Diamond joins us, and she is the program coordinator, Kids Voting Missouri, part of the University of Missouri, St. Louis. So we'll try to go maybe chronological-ish just a little bit, back up to Tuesday. It was close. We've learned late this week there will not be a recount from the Bernie Sanders campaign, even though they were well within the range that they could have.
Yeah, but there never was going to be a
never going to be one.
Anyway.
That was a non-issue.
That was a non-issue. Somebody who didn't really understand the state process kind of threw that out there early on. But the fact is, anybody involved in Missouri politics knows that it takes a month before an election is certified by the Secretary of State's office. So they wouldn't even be able to ask for a recount until April 15th.
So what is
and
the
by
fact
that time?
So what did it tell you that it was so close, though? What did the fact that Bernie came so close to beating Hillary? What did that say to all of you?
Well, I think it said that he had a lot of young voters and some labor activists and others who were very much behind him. I think it showed some dissatisfaction within the Democratic Party. There's also dissatisfaction within the GOP, but
close
it's different.
On that side too.
But it's different. Within the Democratic Party, Sanders represented, he was challenging the establishment, as is Donald Trump. The difference is that Sanders has generally been coming in second to Hillary, and most of the establishment Democrats, even though they're embattled, have managed to get her across the finish line, and that's what happened here.
Yeah, I was frankly kind of surprised about the Democratic result, not because I don't think Bernie Sanders is so far running a fairly excellent campaign given what he has, but because the demographics and organizational aspects of Missouri seem to favor Hillary Clinton pretty strongly. When you think about it, pretty much every major and minor Democratic politician endorsed Hillary Clinton, and you had many prominent labor organizations endorsing Hillary Clinton. And then in 2008, when she ran against then Senator Obama, she swept rural Missouri. And based off her newfound strength among African American voters, Missouri on paper should have been a slam dunk for her. But it turns out that Sanders does have a lot of appeal with younger voters. His message at trade apparently seems to be taking resonance across the state.
Which sounds a little similar to Donald Trump when you go to the rally.
A little bit.
Both of them, he and Trump, are both emphasizing trade, the dissatisfaction with the trade deals, that you have some people, especially middle-aged people, who lost their jobs within the last 20 years. Missouri's, all these small factories that used to be in rural Missouri, they're pretty much gone, and that's that way throughout the Midwest. And so both Trump and Sanders are sort of feeding on that dissatisfaction. They share it, but the point is it's from different viewpoints.
I look at it a different way because I run a K-12 youth voter program. And we had a few schools that voted in the presidential primary. We did a mock primary. It's amazing that the results are almost exactly the same. Hillary won the election, but she did not win by a large margin. Bernie Sanders came in second. So it's eerie to me. Kids don't normally vote the way their parents are voting, but it's still a way to look at the election. The other thing is the effect of social media on this election. When I work with the youth, that's all they're looking at. They're looking at social media. They're not watching any of the TV programs. They're not watching cable news. In fact, print media, 1% of the youth is looking at print media, where I think the Pew Research just did a study on this, and 35% of the youth of that age group are looking at social media. Both Bernie and Donald Trump both have significant social media campaigns on Facebook, on Twitter, on Snapchat,
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
Whatever these, yeah.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say we every week like to have you engage with us as well. Hashtag Stay Tuned STL, but maybe we'd be better off trying to find them with hashtag Stay Tuned STL than
And the
finding
other thing,
us.
as an educator, I think that you have to look at the old propaganda techniques. This is a clear election on both sides with the bandwagon technique that you might all remember from Civics 101. They're jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody's voting for them. You see that all the time. And I think that the young people want to be part of, they see, all the, pizzazz on the ads, the social media, and people want to be part of it. And
Let me kind of jump on, again, the surprising aspects of this. When we think of rural Missouri and outstate Missouri, we think of a place where conservative candidates who are opposed to gun control and abortion will do well. Yet we had a Democratic socialist do well in rural Missouri, and we had a brash New York multi-billionaire who used to be pro-choice and for gun control win most of rural Missouri. And that strikes me that maybe A, those issues aren't as resonant as they used to be, and B, Sanders and Trump's populist message, their message on trade, must have resonated with some people.
Well, some of it, but I think also in Trump's case, because you've got two different situations. You've got Clinton, where the establishment managed to get her across the finish line. You've got, in the Republican primary, you've got Trump, who's not the establishment at all, and the Republican establishment couldn't get Cruz or anybody else. In fact, most of the establishment in the state on the Republican side, the largest bloc, had been for Rubio, and that's only because they had all been with Jeb Bush, and after he went out. So I think in Trump's case, while he's talking trade and he's feeding on people's satisfaction, he's kind of tapped into the Tea Party movement, which was dissatisfaction with trade, dissatisfaction with immigration, dissatisfaction with a whole bunch of stuff. Just people that are really angry about everything.
Like, the Tea Party movement was all about principled stands, and how many times has Donald Trump changed his position in a series of a debate?